Okay, I was just doing this talk about dealing with naysayers, and I had just come to the most important thing of all, dealing with a reluctant spouse, and my live video stream cut off for some reason. So this is basically the conclusion of that one. Just talking about spouses here. So number one, I had just expressed my concern that homeschooling is not worth destroying a marital relationship over. All right, and any organization, bottom line, needs one person in charge. And by that I mean when a push comes to shove and a major decision has to be made, one person should be the one that finally makes it. All right, and in most cases that's going to wind up being the father. There may be some situations where it's the mother, but whatever it is, if assuming it's the father that will make the ultimate decision, then the mother should not run roughshod over that. So the first thing you want to do is try to understand exactly what he has against it. What are his reasons for being against homeschooling? It might be something specific, like he's afraid his boys won't get to play sports, or his girls won't get to play sports, or they won't be prepared for college, or there's problems with socialization aspects or something like that. Maybe it's just some family that he met that he thought were weird, and that's his impression of homeschoolers. It might be something more systemic and deeper, like maybe he's not sure at all that you're capable of doing this, especially when you're talking about high school or something like that. But first of all, you need to kind of, in a friendly discussion, if you can, try to figure out exactly what it is. And that may be a series of discussions over many days. Try to figure out exactly what it is that he's concerned about. All right. The second thing is to start doing your research. I think when this cut off before, I was just pointing out nheri.org. That's the National Home Education Research Institute, okay, under Dr. Brian Ray. They have a lot of research on there that you can read and look at. There's the book School Can Wait and Better Late Than Early, both by Raymond Moore. There are materials by Jay Weil, who has a PhD in nuclear chemistry and has, of course, written some of the science books that we use in the movement. He used to have a great tape called Homeschooling, the Solution to Our Educational Problems. All right, I just interfaced with him today. The tape is not available right now unless you can find an old copy of it somewhere, but I strongly suggested to him that he redo that and make it available again. If you can't see that, there are also some things that he has online that he's written. If you go to, if you just Google Jay Weil, he has some charts and numbers and things like that online. If you Google him, you can find that. So if you can't find the actual tape he talked about. The reason I like it is he's a college professor who got won over to homeschooling when he saw the quality of the kids that were in his college classes. So that's really says a lot, and it's the type of thing dads can usually relate to. All right. Now, so you want to look for that. You want to be able to approach him, your husband, by showing him that you've read some things, that you've met area homeschoolers, that you've maybe gone to a curriculum fair yourself. You have to show him you're serious about this thing, and it's not just some whim that you're thinking about, and talk to him. And remember, especially if you get back to the dads are at work all day, come home, don't catch him at a time when he's really, really tired and wiped out. Try to catch him at a good time when he can really listen to you for a few minutes, or so forth. And let him know that you're being serious and approaching it as professional, and address his specific concerns. Is the concern sports? Well, find out what sports are available in your area. In many areas, there are competitive homeschool sports available at the high school level for homeschoolers. In some areas, it's not. But other places, they may have competitive community type sports and things like that. Is it that they can't get into college? Or look up the research. It's clear that they can. Whatever his issues are, try to talk to him about it. But try very hard to have this be a pleasant conversation. All right. Everything's not hanging on whether you get to start right this second. And pray about it all the time. All right. Now the other aspect of this, though, is moms aren't supposed to be doormats, all right? And some moms, they really want to do it, but they're hesitant to show their husband how much they want to do it. The minute the husband puts the kibosh on it, the women just back off, all right? Show them, if it matters to you, show him how much, all right? Show him how unhappy you are because especially if he's one of these that just no, and I'm not going to read that, I don't have time, blah blah, that type of scenario. I certainly don't mean all dads are like that, they aren't, but I'm just saying if you're in a situation where your husband is just saying flat out no, and you're trying to get him to be reasonable, to listen to this tape, to go to this convention with you and stuff, and he just keeps saying no, 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 I won't do that, I won't do that, I won't listen to that, or the passive aggression, sure I will, but he never does, all right? Show him how unhappy it's making you. And if he doesn't care that's making you that unhappy, then there's something deeply wrong with your marriage, and it's time to work on that and forget the homeschooling for a while. He's got to, in the Bible, the husband-wife relationship is reciprocal. Yes, the wife is supposed to be under the husband, but the husband is supposed to love his wife like himself. If he doesn't care that it's making you unhappy, that he's being a dictator in this area, then there's something deeply wrong and needs to be addressed. All right. Now, if you get to the point where you think it's appropriate, you could ask them, like I did. This is exactly what I did many years ago for a trial period. Just say something, look, I know we've had this, we've gone around and round about it. I understand that you're still not completely convinced. I've tried to show you a few things, and but if you're not completely convinced, would you please just let me try it for 1 year? And at the end of that year, if you still think it's a bad idea, I'll be happy to go back to the public school or whatever. That's exactly what I did with my husband. And by the time the year was over, he was, I won't say a staunch supporter, but he had definitely been won over. Now, assuming for a minute that you're successful and you have this trial period, or you're getting going, be very sure dads are used to goals. They're used to milestones. They're used to objectives and meeting objectives and things like that at work. So if every time he comes home, all you can do is talk about the trip you had to the zoo that day, after a while he's going to think she's not doing anything, So you need to, again, have open lines of communication about anything that you may have issues with. For example, a late reader, would be an issue. A person that is hard to deal with. Sometimes we all have that one kid that's a little tough to deal with. To discuss various approaches to homeschooling and why you're taking the approach that you're taking, and so forth. But again, the dads have to be careful. Just like a boss, if their boss came in at the beginning of the day and said, do it exactly this way, left for the entire day, and then came back and said, did you do it exactly the way I told you to? It wouldn't be a good scenario. Dads have to understand. This is what I talked about in my first book, The Relaxed Homeschool. Dads are the producers, the moms are the directors, all right? So the dads have to understand that while that mom is home all day, she has to be treated like a professional. Even though I always say you're not really a teacher, your mom is a relaxed homeschooler, you're still a professional mom, if you will. And so you have to be given some discretion to make some of your own decisions. And again, if he thinks they still need something else, it's not your job to tell him not to. My husband did a lot of little extra things, and they helped. He used to do things involving their math facts or their spelling or something like that, and it actually helped. And again, the kids will adapt. They can, see the mom is doing it one way during the day, and then the dad comes home and does something else. But the bottom line is, keep in mind that this spousal relationship is, in the long run, more important than your relationships with your kids. Because sooner or later, your kids will grow and leave. That's me right now, all right? I'm here under quarantine with my husband only right now. If we had totally trashed our relationship over the years, we'd be hurting. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we're perfect, but we enjoy each other's company. And we didn't trash the relationship over any differences we had over the children, raising the children or how we educated them or so forth. So just remember that spousal relationship is really, really important, and you don't want to trash that over the issue of whether you're going to homeschool or how exactly you're going to homeschool. All right. Prayer is always the answer. All right. So many situations I've seen where the husband got turned around by the wife really praying about it. Prayer and research and communication. I think those are the keys. All right. Apologize if this had to wind up being a separate thing, but maybe that's a good thing. I'm going to look them over right now and hope they both came out pretty well. Next week on Tuesday, I think I'm going to do one on the arts in homeschool, art, music, and theater, and things like that. And then next Thursday, I won't be doing one because we're doing our graduation from our homeschool program. Kind of a milestone for me, probably the last homeschool program I'm ever going to run unless things change somehow. I've been doing that for many, many years, and this may be the last time, but we are having a graduation ceremony, so I won't be free next Thursday to do this. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope these both worked out, and sorry I had to split into two. And I'm off now. Talk to you later.